Hey, y'all. Welcome. This is Marianne Pack, your spiritual medium and joy advocate. And today I have an interview with a dear friend and colleague of mine. And I just wanted to tell you why I do these interviews and podcasts and offer Ask the Many and all the things that I do. It's because I want to remind you who you are. I want all these people to help me remind you who you are so that it will reawaken the joy that's already within you that maybe have been put on the shelf and maybe you feel stuck. So, why I do what I do is all about creating a new world of kindness and inclusion and uh, equanimity so that what we're doing as entrepreneurs, as business people, as employees, as retirees, whatever we find in our lives, that it's to make a better world and to imagine what the best of it could be. So I want to welcome my dear, sweet friend and colleague, Dr. Davia Shepherd. And we are going to talk about collaboration, which is totally foreign in this competitive world. So this is another new paradigm shift for business. And this is what we need to focus on rather than that competitive spirit, because we'll talk about that later because Divya explains it so well. And I want to jump right in and ask Divya, who is Divya and what good do you bring into the world?
Wow, that's such an existential question, Marianne. I love when people ask me, who are you? Because it really makes me think, even for just a moment, about the nature of life and who we are and what we're here to do on the planet and who we're here to serve and all of that wonderful stuff. I'm Dr. Davia Shepherd. In the daytime, I help my patients to have less pain and to live their optimal lives. And I feel like that's my job on earth at this time is to help everyone that comes into contact with me to live their optimal life. I have the privilege of hosting a women's group, and in our women's group are women from all over the world, women from all walks of life, all sorts of careers. Some of them are just starting out in the work world, some of them are retirees, some of them are in the middle of it, in the thick of it. So just women who are corporate women, women who are doing a job, women who are entrepreneurs, small business owners, solopreneurs. And we all come together in my group called Ladies Power Lunch. And we come together with one intention, and that's intentionally aligned support of each other, just supporting each other, not because I support you, Marianne, because I expect that you're going to do something for me in the future, but just supporting each other because we exist.
Absolutely. And I love being in this group. Y'all, if you are looking for a group that you can belong to, ladies, and we have a few gentlemen in our
We
group.
do.
We do. And this is a very active group. You've heard me mention it before. I will mention it every time I'm probably on the air. So get used to it and just come over and join us because there's just that one rule that Dr. Dewey has placed, and it's to intentionally support each other. And this is, again, all about that paradigm shift. The whole premise of Ladies Power Lunch is to shift our paradigm and create a new business type, a style, a new business platform. Um, and Divya is our chief happiness officer over there, and she definitely keeps our group rolling in laughter. So we're here actually today to talk about her newest book. She is an international speaker and a best-selling author. Besides caring for patients, she has time in her schedule to do all of this also. So I am looking forward to talking about her book, Grow Smarter. So do you want to tell us a little bit about that and why it was important for you to write it now?
Marianne, here's the thing. Can I show you the book? I am so
Absolutely.
excited to share it with you and with your audience. So this is what it looks like.
Mine's
And
on order. Mine's on order. And I
so
got
you should get
course.
it very soon. I'm looking forward to it. But I just want to hold it up and show it to you because it's not just something that came out of my imaginings, because that could have gone terribly wrong, but it is actually a book about collaboration that is a collaboration. And
Mm,
I want to say it all started with, of course, our Ladies Power Lunch group, because our intention with the group is to make sure that everybody in the group feels supported by the collective.
mm,
Everybody really gets it that, you could do it alone and you probably would get some results, something would happen, but the amazing results that you could get in terms of your income and your impact and your quality of life, all of that could be so greatly improved if you embrace a new idea, a new way of doing business,
mm,
instead of the old paradigm, which is all about see what the competition's doing and do it better or crush the competition. We've all heard that, right?
yes.
But how about we consider a different approach and we consider cooperation and collaboration over competition every single time? And so the words in the book, they're not all my words. They are actually as a result of me interviewing many of the women in our Ladies Power Lunch group to find out what makes a collaboration work. What is there about a collaboration that's different from other ways of doing business? Why is it beneficial for you? What benefits have you gotten? What would you say are your do's and your don'ts for having a collaboration? What advice do you have for anybody who's out there thinking about getting involved in a collaboration? And I asked these questions, and the women in our Ladies Power Lunch group, they're so generous. They hopped on interviews with me. They posted in our group. They really shared their knowledge, their wisdom. And so we were able to pull on the wisdom of so many women, women who were at the beginning of their entrepreneurial journey or beginning of their journey in the workforce, and just seeing what's been working for them and what hasn't. And we were able to look at the veterans, the ones who've done collaboration after collaboration and who've gotten really, really good at it, and also getting their perspective. And all of that we've been able to distill down into our book, Grow Smarter: Collaboration Secrets to Transform Your Income and Your Impact. And we've been able to build a framework that explains in 5 steps how we can go from being alone in our business and competition focused to being abundant in our business with the power of the collective at our back.
Oh, I love that. I love that you're bringing that together, that so many people, I know some of the stories behind the collaboration just to produce the book. That was such a huge undertaking, but it was eased by collaboration.
It
Because
sure was.
yeah, because you had to have all the different parts come together at once. And I love that. And I love that it's out in the world now and people will be able to find it. And we will have a link in the notes here. So what is the difference? What are some of the things that are so unique about collaboration versus this competitive world? What are some of the things that make such a difference in our spirit in how we present to the world. Um,
Well, maybe I can answer your question by sharing a story. Is that okay?
oh, I love stories.
So, and I think it's one of the stories that comes a little bit earlier in the book, and it's one that I really enjoy sharing because I feel like it's so real to me because it's, something that I lived and I saw growing up, and it's something that really shows you what happened, the difference between living that traditional paradigm compared to living that
Mm.
collaborative life. So I start the story off by saying there are three little boys,
Mm.
and they were, as boys would be, a little bit on the rambunctious side. And so their dad had to help them figure out what they were going to do with their lives. And the oldest one ended up wanting to be just like his dad, and he became an engineer. And the middle one, he was very artistic and he became an architect. And the youngest one, he went off to the military for a while, but when he came back, he started a construction company and is really, really good at business and also very good at building. So, Marianne, is it just me, or can you see how these three brothers, how their businesses that they were doing are kind of aligned? They're like in that same space, right? So one is,
Complimentary. Just
yes,
complimentary.
complementary.
Yeah.
And they all did really well in business because they had that old-timey paradigm of pushing harder and working harder and shoulder to the wheel and just do it and make it happen. So they did okay, right? And they're still doing okay for the most part. But I, as a child, always looked at them because these guys, Marianne, they are my uncles. Unfortunately, just like many, many brothers, they don't necessarily see eye to eye on everything. And if they can make it through Thanksgiving without getting into a serious argument, God bless them for that. But I, as a child, I would look at them and I would think to myself, huh, why aren't they working together?
Mm.
Because I could see how they could pool their resources. Because one thing I knew is that my uncle, who was an engineer, he was working for the state. My other uncle was working, who was an architect, was working for a firm. And my uncle, who was a building contractor, he had his own company. But if they had all come together, my uncle, who's a contractor, he's always hiring architects and he's always hiring engineers constantly, but never his brothers.
Wow.
And that was just amazing to me. Like I could see like a child looking at it and
Mhm.
saying, this is a very, very strange way of doing business. Why wouldn't they want to work together? But they didn't and they haven't. And so for that reason, I am a physician instead of being a CEO of McLaren Global, which I would have been by now if they had gotten their acts together and,
Yeah.
started this global corporation that I was able to dream of in my mind. But
Mhm.
the reason I'm telling you this story, Marianne, is that we want to grow, but we don't necessarily always have the energy or the resources at our disposal to have that sort of explosive growth that we have in mind. And yet, if we work together, if we form collaborations that are appropriate and aligned, we can see a level of growth. We can see a level of impact. We can see the income that we're looking for. We can see the time freedom that we're looking for. It can change everything. It can change our lives. Tell you another story. Like I said, This was a collaboration book that was born completely out of a collaboration. And last week, the week before launch, so we're launching, we're doing all the background work to make sure that this week everything runs smoothly as we birth our baby book to the world. And my baby, he was 6, he just turned 7. It was his
Mhm.
birthday. And he said to me, Mommy, can I go to the beach for my birthday? And because my book launch is a collaborative effort, I was able to say to my baby, sure, we'll go to the beach.
Ooh, nice.
Because I know my sisters, they've got my back.
Hmm.
We have dreamed, especially for those of us who are small business owners who have or who are entrepreneurs or solopreneurs who've come from the corporate world. One of the reasons that we stepped into this life of small business or entrepreneurship or solopreneurship, one of the reasons for many of us has been that we would be able to experience this time freedom.
Yes.
This ability to, if your baby says he wants to go to the beach, to be able to pick up and go to the beach. And guess what? What makes that possible for me right now is the collective, the support that I have with my collaboration partners. To
Mm,
know that if I'm unable to hold things up, that they've got me, that it's okay.
absolutely. I love that. I love that there's so many partners that you're drawing from. And because I know most of the women that are working in the background for you. So it's been a
With
joy.
me, with
Yes,
me.
yes, yes, with you. Absolutely. So I know a lot of times there's stories behind why we do what we're doing. And I like to say our mess is our message because usually there's something we've gone through. There's a story that brought us to the place we are and that we've worked through. So that mess created this new message. And this new message for you is about collaboration. So, what brought you to the place that this collaboration came about and now it's become your message? You're birthing this new paradigm.
I love this question. Thank you so much for asking such insightful questions, Marianne. This is a really good one. So I had the opportunity yesterday, and I'm so grateful. I want to just put it out there. I am reasonably decent at public speaking. I'm going to even go out on a limb and say I'm really outstanding at public speaking. So I was invited to come talk to a room full of 17-year-old women who are about to embark into their lives and into the business world. It was a wonderful experience. It was probably one of the best things that I've ever done because talking to the next generation of entrepreneurs, that's priceless.
Mhm.
But one of the things I shared with them yesterday is that if you talk to 17-year-old me, I wouldn't have been able to tell you that, I would write a book about growing smarter and teaching entrepreneurs and teaching women how to transform their income and impact and how to expand their time freedom and that sort of thing. That wasn't even on my radar then. But
Mhm.
one thing I knew for sure, without a shadow of a doubt, is that I'm here to make the world a better place in any way that I can. I'm here to contribute in some way to be supportive of the greater good. I knew that. I always knew that. And I feel like for many of us, we know that we are a community. We know that we each have special talents, and that when we all bring those special talents together, that's when the whole community thrives and grows and expands and becomes the best that it can be. So my underlying driving force is to help anybody who comes into contact with me to live their optimal life, whatever that looks like for them. That's going to be different for everybody. But if I can help in some way, you've got it. You just know this. How I started along this path of being supportive of women is really completely, I want to say by accident, but it's not by accident because,
Divine.
Marianne, are there really any accidents? Are there really any coincidences? Or is everything just alignment, really? I was working for Big Pharma. My background is research and pharmacology, and I had a little bit of a crisis of conscience, and I went to working directly with patients. My timing was off. And I tell this story in our book. So I invite you to, I'm going to give you a really Cliff Notes version here, but I invite you to tune into that. My timing was off. We were in an economic downturn. We were losing patients because they were losing their health insurance. And so somebody suggested, get out there, start networking. And my paradigm at that time was work harder, do more, just do it. So somebody who was my mentor said, go network. I was networking times 10. I was at I joined all the networking associations in my area, every single one. I can guarantee. Within a year or so, I was the president of several. I was also vice president. Where I wasn't president, I was vice president. I'm not even kidding. I was at every event, morning networking, lunchtime networking, after hours networking. Everybody knew me. But what was happening is that people were getting a lot of referrals and getting a lot of offers for collaboration from me, but I wasn't getting that much in return. And I sat down and invited 6 women to come have lunch with me one day, not intending to start a women's movement, just 6 women, friends, let's go have lunch. And when we sat at that table, the 6 women didn't even really know each other that well. We sat at that table, and when women get together, amazing things happen.
Absolutely.
These 6 women just started supporting each other, not for any reason, not because I am expecting you, Marianne, to give me something in return, but just because you have a need and I can help.
Mhm.
And it wasn't just business, it was all areas of life, from babysitting to elder care to growing our businesses. People were just supporting each other left and right. And by the time we left lunch that day, everybody said, this was amazing. Let's do it again. And so we did. We scheduled every third Monday of the month. We'll get together. If you can come, great. If you can't, also great. And you're also always welcome to bring a friend. And out of those 6 women in a Ruby Tuesday on Route 6 in Bristol, I keep saying it because the Ruby Tuesday is not even there anymore, right?
Just were there to give you a start.
It was just there to give me a start. That was the only reason. Just kidding. But 6 women, and now our membership is international. Just yesterday, we welcomed a new member from Belgium. I'm so excited to
Ooh.
welcome Monique to our group. But one rule, one driving principle behind this Ladies Power Lunch movement, and that's the name of the group that I host, is that we intentionally support each other. That's it.
Mhm. And I can contest to that. This is the only rule we have. So um, we would love to have you in this group so that you can share some of this support that you may be needing in your business or in your life. Like Divya said, there are times when I ask questions of members of the group, and it's a personal question, it's a life question. It's not always just about business because it's supposed to be a business group. It's that we care about each other, no matter where it is in their lives, whatever we're dealing with. There's somebody there to support you if you'll just reach out and ask for help. So I love it. I love our time in Ladies Power Lunch. So tell us a little bit more. I know there's pillars in that book. about the foundation of collaboration. Would you like to talk about any of those?
So here's what I would say, Marianne. First things first, a lot of the times, the things that we think are collaborations actually are not collaborations. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to define what a collaboration is.
Oh,
And you have a collaboration, and I go into very great detail to explain what the different types of things are. But if we're really talking about a collaboration, then it's a win, win, win. That means that your customer, the end customer, wins. If you're in a situation where there's something shady going on and the end customer isn't winning, that's not a collaboration.
yes.
Number two, you need to win too, right?
Mhm.
So there are a lot of, let me just lean in here. I know you because you are me. There are lots of heart-centered entrepreneurs, coaches, healers, leaders who are pouring their whole heart into the things that they do, and they're not being appropriately compensated. May
Mhm.
I speak to you for a moment? You deserve to be compensated. You deserve to have the income to allow you to make your choices based on desire and not on the price tag.
Yes.
And so, if you're in a collaboration, not only should the end customer be winning, but you, dear, dear, dear friend, should be winning too.
Mhm.
And then, third, your collaboration partner or partners should also be winning. So, everybody needs to be winning. And if those three criteria are not being met, then this is not a collaboration. It's something else entirely.
Mhm.
Make sense?
Absolutely. That helps.
Collaboration is pretty simple, but I feel like we make it harder than it has to be. So I've broken it down into steps, and there are 5 pillars of a collaboration that is aligned and intentional, a collaboration that works, a collaboration that actually will give you the increase in income and the increase in impact that you are looking for. The 5 steps, they're simple, but you got to do them. So, step one is to ask. And I'm not suggesting that anybody go out there immediately and just start
Mhm.
asking around for collaborations to come their way. No, that's not what I mean. These 5 steps to go from being alone to being abundant and in community, they are meant to be supportive. And step one requires that we start at step one, which is step one for most things, going within. So, Marianne, you're a medium. You are very tuned in to your inner being and the way that it talks to you. And you're very aware of your inner self and your guidance. But not everybody is tapped in and tuned into that. And so my suggestion is if you're not tuned in there, get tuned in there. Figure it out. And it's not one size fits all. And it might take a little bit of practice for you to start hearing your guidance. Because one of the things that happened to us as we grew up is that we got taught not to listen to our guidance,
Yeah.
not to listen to our intuition. We could just have this one step, I feel, if we're tuned in enough to our inner guidance, we will be guided to the right collaborations
Yes.
without having to do anything else. Truly. But of course, it starts with getting quiet, making space,
Mhm.
getting that clarity about what it is that you want. Because do you even want a collaboration? Is it the right time for you? If you are having a collaboration, what kind of collaboration do you want? Do you want a collaboration where you're doing most of the things and you have some support, or do you want something that's 50-50? What are your values? What are your boundaries? You
Mm.
have to know yourself before you know others. This is my favorite pillar of the 5 pillars for an intentionally aligned collaboration, because with this pillar in place, it lays a perfect foundation for the other ones. And the other ones are pretty simple too. And it's not a sequential process. It's sort of like they all intertwine and they all happen
Mm.
pretty much at the same time. Step 2 is alignment. And it requires that you check in to make sure that your collaboration partner has the same values, that the energy between you is right. And there's some people who they have that gut sense and they can know and they can tell when the energy is off and they can tell when the energy is amazing. And it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with your partner. It might just mean that this is not the right time, or it might mean that this collaboration is meant for somebody else. But being aware of alignment. I also like to include communication in this step because communication has to be aligned. You ask a lot of people, what's the number one thing that you need for a collaboration to work? And they'll say communication. But communication is tricky because sometimes you're talking to somebody and they're just listening for their opportunity to interrupt.
Yes.
They're not taking in anything that you're saying. And so you're not having a back and forth. You're having two separate monologues.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not an aligned communication at all. There is no alignment there. So making sure that you're actually having communication and that you talk about every single thing that is going to be a part of your collaboration. You want to also make sure that you're collaborating with somebody that you trust. And you want to make sure that you are giving openness. You're available and open for the collaboration. Step step 3 and step 4 and step 5, they kind of build on each other. So you want to make sure you're all in. You want to make sure your partner's all in. There's commitment, there's cooperation. And I like to say you also want to stay a little bit detached from outcome because you never know just what might happen. A story that I tell in the book is about 2 women who, just an example of how detachment is important. 2 women, they got together as realtor partners. And that's pretty usual in the industry. What happened though is that they did an amazing job because they're amazing. And they happened to sell a house that was part of a larger estate. And so after they did that, the owner invited them to dispose of the assets of the estate. And so now their work isn't real estate. They are now auctioneers, basically, and they're well known and well respected in the business. But they had to be open to whatever the universe might bring to them as their means of abundance. If they had been really focused on staying just focused on their realtor mindset, they might have missed out on this big, amazing opportunity that came their way. And so detachment's important. And then step 4 is assignment, just making sure that everybody in the collaboration that they are doing the thing that they're best at. And step 5, make sure that we're not overburdening anybody in the collaboration. Want to make sure that we're taking advantage of applications and resources that are available. Technology is amazing.
Mm.
Make use of it. I was talking to the little girls yesterday and I showed my age for a minute. I said to them, ladies, when I was growing up, there was no internet. There was no Google. There was no Facebook. There was none of that stuff. A lot of the applications and the technology that we have available to us now, I didn't have that growing up.
Mm.
So take advantage of that. And then there's another opportunity too, the resources, the support that is there. It might mean pulling in somebody else from the community that is going to be a third or fourth or fifth collaborator because they do something that you don't do well. And I'll give you an example. In building our book, I did my piece was interviewing our Ladies Power Lunch women writing the book. That
Mhm.
was my job.
Mhm.
I feel like I did a reasonably decent job of that. Elizabeth Hill of Greenheart Living Publishing Press, she published the book and did a lot of the background work to actually get this to come to fruition.
Mhm.
Our dear friend Barb from Infinity Design, she designed the cover and she designed all the social media and marketing behind bringing the book to market. So it's a book about collaboration that features collaboratively a number of different women's stories, and bringing it to market was a collaboration effort. If I was to get up and decide, okay, I'm going to design the book cover, I could do it because I made the placeholder that we put up in Amazon until we had our design in place. I I mean, anybody who's a solopreneur or a small business owner, you learn how to do things, right? I could have made the website because I know how to make a website, but I don't do it well. I
Right.
could have published the book because Amazon shows you all the steps to self-publish, but that's not my area of brilliance. And so I want to suggest that we really take advantage of the applications and resources that are available to us because the product, the end result will be so much greater than if we try to do it by ourselves.
Mm,
So those are my 5 pillars.
absolutely. It's a lot like when you come together like that. I know we've had conversations about the mastermind that Napoleon Hill talks about and Think and Grow Rich. So, and I know you like to say one and one equal more than two. It's greater than two because there's
Yes.
so much more power than if you have two individuals and you put the light together. You're talking about a lot of luminescence
So much more.
rather
And
than two little quiet lights out here separated from each other. So, would you like to tell us anything else about the book or what's coming up or what's included with the book or anything like that? We'd love to know.
sure, if you will permit me, I would like to invite everybody to go out and get the book, and it should be available in most of your retailers. If not immediately, then very soon. But in the interim, you can get the book at our website. It's Grow Smarter, Not Harder.com. Grow Smarter, Not Harder.com. And you know how I talk about that win-win-win?
Mhm.
Well, this launch is also a purely collaborative effort. And so we win, certainly, when you buy the book. Our collaboration partners win when you participate. But we want to make sure that anybody who picks up our book during this launch period, that they also get an additional benefit. I read a lot. And I
Mhm.
love to show people my bookshelf. And this is just one of the bookshelves in my office. I read a lot, but how many times do we read this book and it's really great? And we might take a principle from it and apply it to our life or to our business, but then it just goes on the shelf and we don't do anything else with it. I know that I'm guilty of that. And so, because of that, I wanted to make sure that we offer an opportunity for us to implement some of the principles from Grow Smarter into our businesses and into our lives right away. And so, anybody who purchases the book during this launch period, just put your proof of purchase in our website, and we'll give you for free this 4-module course. I made sure it was short but impactful. So just 4 modules, and you go through the 4 modules and you just apply these principles to your life, to your business, and right away you get started on track of living a more abundant life in a smarter way, being supported by the collective. And then, but wait, there's more. So in addition, Marianne, to giving away this free 4-module course for anybody who purchases the book during this launch period, we'll, we'll give them an opportunity to apply the principles, but then we also want to give them the opportunity to integrate into their life. And so on the 30th of August, we will be inviting everybody who would like to attend to come join us in the room. We're going to be together live, but virtually for Grow Smarter Live. It's going to be a full day of workshops, just really workshopping how you and I and everybody can actually implement these principles specifically in your business and in your life. And so everybody's invited. And if you've bought the book and you put in your proof of purchase, you get a discount on the ticket for Grow Smarter Life. So it's I think we've achieved the win, win, win.
Absolutely.
It's truly a collaborative effort.
Absolutely. I know I have my book on order that I'm waiting for. I'm reading the Kindle right now, and I'm waiting for my course to get started on that. And I can't wait for August 30th for this Grow Smarter live event. I already have my ticket. I am ready to go. So everybody join us. And I would suppose that you also are inviting them to join the Ladies Power Lunch on Facebook.
Absolutely. But that invitation is always there for everyone who feels as though the power of the collective is greater than the sum of her parts. For everyone who feels that there's room for all of us to be successful and that competition is just a construct in the mind. Anybody who feels like struggle is optional and that it can be easy to run your business and live your optimal life once you have that aligned collaboration. And anybody who appreciates the concepts of the mastermind causing magic to show up, if you fall in that category, then we welcome you into our group. I will say this because I've noticed people request to join our group, Ladies Power Lunch, on Facebook. They request, but they don't agree to the terms. You got to agree to the terms. You got to agree that you're going to be available for intentional aligned support. And once you agree to that, we'll open the doors and let you in. So, yes, you are welcome.
Awesome. Awesome. We would love to have you join us. And I love this idea about, this support and the collaboration, that it's complementary. And the thing is, just start imagining how much greater impact and income you could create and touch more lives in the world by doing these. And there's a question I just heard on a podcast this morning, and it was to ask yourself, how good can it get? Just start imagining, how good could it get? We were imagination experts when we were kids. We had the biggest house with our imagination, and we had the best jobs, and we traveled the world and whatever it was. And then that kind of got squashed by real life, by other people who had lost their imagination, their connection to imagination. So let's start reimagining a different life, creating a new story, a new paradigm, a new way of doing business with collaboration. So let's focus on that word, that question. How good can it get? And with collaboration, it could just be mind-blowing. And like she said, don't hold on to that outcome, because you may head in a totally different direction than you first initially um, envisioned, because that's when spirit can come in, source can come in and work their magic and make it so much bigger than you could have even dreamed. So, Divya, would you have anything else you'd like to leave us with, some words of wisdom or some, oh, we didn't even cover do's and don'ts. Is there anything you want to share about that?
I would say do embrace the idea of collaboration. Do appreciate that you can live your optimal life. It's possible. It really, really is. A lot of the times we have, let's say we have 5 things going on in our lives, our business, our finances, our relationships, our kids, our health. And one of them, it might be our business, might not be going the way that we want it to. And we allow that to color
Yes,
the enjoyment of the rest of our lives. And my advice is that you can live your optimal life, and that it can be a whole lot easier if you have the collective supporting you. You can make more money. You can have that time freedom. You can have the ease and the flow, and you can be part of a community that is really intentionally supporting you. And so my suggestion is just embrace the idea. Think about it a different way. And sometimes it's hard when you've grown up a certain way, you've learned something. Just do it is on all my workout clothes. You know, it's everywhere. It's pervasive. And there's a place for that.
Mhm.
But consider that this could be the new business paradigm,
Yes,
collaboration.
absolutely. Yes. Oh, I love this. My mind's just racing. So, um, I want to thank you for letting me have the opportunity to share you with my audience, with my followers, with my peeps. So, thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. Uh, your link will be in the comments so that everybody can have those. Have the link to be able to find the book, the free course, a 4-module course, and a discounted ticket for the Grow Smarter Live. That's going to be August 30th. So I'm going to be there and you want to be there.
Yes.
So
Awesome.
thank you again, Divya. I appreciate you. And remember, everybody, you are joy, looking for a way to express. And let collaboration be a way to express it greater in the world, with greater impact, greater income, that we can affect the world for change and leave it in a better place. Love to you all. Thank you. Thank you, Divya. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Marianne.
Mm.